Okay, what's up, everyone? It's Chris from Chris Beat Cancer, and I am excited because I'm talking to Candice Marie Fox today, and she's got a pretty remarkable cancer healing story. She was diagnosed with stage 3 thyroid cancer in 2010. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, 11, 2011.
2011. Okay, 2011. And she made some pretty big headlines. I guess you would say global headlines. Her story just kind of broke maybe about a week or so ago. And so some of these headlines, some of you may have seen them, but I beat terminal cancer with pineapples. Uh, let's see. Women claim she beat cancer by eating fruit and ditching hubby, etc. So anyway, Candace and I were just talking about how media outlets love to use clickbait to get you to click on the story. So that headline is not exactly the truth, but we're going to get into it. So Candace, thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored. Thank you.
So why don't we start with your diagnosis? What happened? How did you figure out you had cancer?
Well, basically, it started off with just a little lump above my collarbone here. There was like a tiny, tiny, tiny little lump. And I just thought it was just a gland because I had a bit of a cold. So I just carried on traveling. I was actually on my honeymoon, and carried on traveling, and we were drinking and eating meat, and just doing stuff that I now know to not be very good for our systems. And this thing started growing, like seriously started growing. It even like at first it was just moving, and then it fixated, and it was bigger, and I couldn't move it anymore. So then I was just a bit like, okay, well this is not normal. This has been like 3 months we've been traveling, and it's there. So when I got back to, because we worked in a small mining town called Karratha in Western Australia, and we were traveling Europe. But when we actually got back to Karratha, I just thought, oh no, look, I can't continue to work knowing that this is just going to keep growing. It's just not going to go. So I went to the local hospital there, and basically they wouldn't see me. They said that it was a case for the doctor, but the doctor was taking so long to give me an appointment because it's quite busy up there. So I just said, look, I really need to see someone. And this really nice doctor was just like, okay, look, love, we'll give you an ultrasound. So I went in, had an ultrasound of the neck, and the two people that done the ultrasound just looked at me and looked at each other, and then just looked at me, and it just was one of them looks, and I was just like, well, what can you see? And they was like, oh, we'll leave that for when we actually read it and whatnot. So I was like, okay, sweet. Then I went in, and they said that they weren't sure what it was. They just wanted to biopsy. So I've got a little scar there. They wanted to take out that lump and just see what it was. So I was just like, well, okay, like that's cool. Yeah, take it out. And then they were like, oh, it could be nothing, we'll take it out and it'll be gone. So I was like, sweet, let's get rid of this lump. Because I just thought, yeah, this is just this one lump that's just decided to just do something on my neck, and I just want to get rid of it. So they cut that out, and then I waited ages, absolutely ages for the results. Like, I know that mining towns like are on their own time, but it was just, it got to like a week, 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks passed, and I was just like, oh my God, I need to demand the truth. So I went marching in to the hospital, and I was just like crying, and I was like, look, please, like I really just want to know what is going on. And they were like, we can't tell you, we haven't got anything back. And then there was a doctor there that I'd seen before, semi-new. So I just like pleaded with him, like, can you just go through my records and see if there's anything that's come up, like absolutely anything. I just kind of want to know. It was just a gut feeling I had, because it was just taking too long, and all this rubbish I was making up in my own head. Anyway, he like obviously had a kind heart and just kind of like saw the state I was in, and he went off, and he come back, and he asked me to come into a room with him, and my husband at the time was just waiting outside. So I went in alone with the guy, and he just said to me, look, I'm really sorry to tell you, and he just had this sheet of paper, and he was just reading off saying basically it's papillary thyroid carcinoma. And I was like, okay, what's that? Like, I've never heard of that before in my life. And then he was like, it's thyroid cancer. So then I was like, well, what's a thyroid? Like, I've never heard of what a thyroid is. Like, I don't think many people really did know, like, around me what a thyroid was. So then I just literally, and then I was just like, okay, it's a thyroid cancer. Who cares what the thyroid is? I've got cancer in my body. And I broke down into, I was a state. Like, I've never seen me like that. I'm usually quite a strong woman, and I've never known me to be that weak and that vulnerable at that moment. But my immune system must have like halved there and then, because I was just so like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like, something's wrong with me. Like, why me, kind of thing. And my husband came in. He just started crying as well, and I've never seen him cry either. So it was quite like I've never seen him like that. I've never seen me like that. Worse, like, I'm even getting shivers now, because it's just something that I just never thought I'd ever had to go through, and I'd never want to put anyone else through. And then after I'd stopped being a blubbering mess, I turned to the doctor, Kurt, who said, I just said, so what, like, am I going to die? Like, you know, all the normal questions. And he was just like, look, if it's spread, you're looking at 5 years to live. Like, and I was just like, but if it hasn't? And he said, you know, we can't really tell, but it's usually quite good to deal with when it's thyroid cancer. So I was just like, well, you know, maybe that's just that one lump, that's it. Like that could just be that, couldn't it? So I'm like pleading. And he didn't really know much, because he wasn't the doctor dealing with my case. So I'm just like, give me answers. But he couldn't help me. All he could do was that, console me. He could see in his eyes how hurting he was for me, and how, like, my husband at the time, how hurting he was for me. So it was just one really crap situation to be in. And, you know, there wasn't much more I could do at that situation. So I then left with my husband, and we went back, and I literally just sat outside the front of our house crying. Like, I was just on this bench crying. I rang my best friend who I lived with at the time, and my other friend. They left work immediately. They both worked together, and they just came home. And I don't think my partner at the time, I don't think he knew what to do, because he went off. I think he went off just to kind of be on his own, and I think he went a bit numb throughout the whole thing. So he went off and done whatever he needed to do, and I sat there and cried and done what I needed to do. And my best friends and that, they came, and we just cuddled the shit out of each other, and just, you know, they told me it was gonna be okay, and everything that I kind of needed to hear, but I wasn't too sure that it was the truth. And then that's when I started to process it, because my friend Bella, she is very analytical, very straight with me, and very, you know, I just believe her words. So she's just like, we're going to get through this. Like, this is nothing. Like, you're so strong, you're this, you're that, you know, just giving me the biggest best friend pep talk ever. And it worked, because I was like, fuck yeah, I am so strong. Like, I have got this no matter what. And then built myself up, because it's the power of emotions and stuff, obviously, like, as you know, it's just so incredible that I took hold of it for a millisecond, and then, like, I started calling my family and kind of gaining more insight and stuff. And I got called back into that hospital. They wanted to do a fine needle biopsy, so they'd removed the lump, but there was lumps all over, apparently, that had blood vessels going into it, and apparently that's a sign of all being tumours, if they've got their own little blood supply going on. So they injected me later on, after I'd like had my little crying thing and stuff. This was a little, like, a few days later, and they injected me and pulled out some cells from 1 or 2 lumps, and they were all the same papillary thyroid carcinoma. And then that's when my roller coaster ride started. Like, as soon as that kind of happened, I had to kind of leave my job there, because it was so remote. That hospital, I don't think, is very equipped for cancer surgeries and whatnot, and I wasn't sure, like, what I wanted to do, because in my gut I was like, I can do this naturally. If we can cure a broken bone, like, if our body can heal a broken bone, I'm pretty sure that we can get rid of some angry cells that just need a little bit of love. Like, I literally was just, that was my first thought. But then, as I say, I spoke to lots of people, all the people around me. Everyone thought I was crazy and I was going to kill myself if I'd done it naturally. So I just thought, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I should, like, listen to these people. Like, my dad and my granddad were amazing. They were just like, whatever you believe, you know, and I believe that now. I tell everyone that if you believe something's going to work, then go for whatever you believe. And they did that. And I took that on board after I had gone through all the surgery and the radiation and stuff. So their advice really stuck in. But once I got to, so I flew back down to Perth, and that's when everything kind of was just crazy. So my mother-in-law at the time, she was absolutely incredible. Like, she took, because I had nobody apart from, like, my friends who were left in Karratha, and then the new family that I'd, like, been part of, like, with my husband and whatnot. And the mother-in-law, she took me to this place that does natural remedies, but they wanted, like, it was quite a bit of money for all these supplements. Now I know about all these supplements. They all would have worked, but I just didn't have the money. So it was kind of like, I don't have that. Like, so I just kind of had to like leave that. Then I went to the main surgeon in Perth, like the main kind of like the main hospital, and got their kind of ideal of it. They just said basically I needed to have a total thyroidectomy, the lymph nodes removed, radiation. Then I went to so I forgot to say that when I was actually in Carafa, they handed me a letter. It was just a surgeon's letter, and it was for like the best surgeon in Perth, basically. That's all I got. So I was instantly, from being diagnosed, funneled into the system of surgery, radiation. That pisses me off now, because it's just like I wasn't given any other thing. I had to kind of like find out if there were other things myself. But
Right.
after being on the system, I thought I have two. If I've got one surgeon who's supposed to be the best like thyroid surgeon in Perth, I'll go to the main hospital as well, and I'll see what they both say. And they both did say, yep, thyroidectomy, lymph nodes out, radiation, and then we'll see how you go, blah, 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 blah. And I also was trying to find natural things then, but I went to the best thyroid surgeon in Perth, and he turned around to me and said, I said, look, I want to try and do this myself. Apparently the first tumour was 12 years old. I was like, so my brain was saying, well, hang on a second, Candice. If your first initial tumour was 12 years old, I'm pretty sure you've got 6 months to a year to just try and reduce it. Like, I literally just thought I can just give it a go myself. I said this to the surgeon, and I said, look, I understand that you want to rush me in and you say that you're doing the best thing because I'm so young and you can give me like a really good scar and blah, 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 blah. I just want to kind of give it a go. Do I have 6 months, possibly even 12 months? Like, you know, if it's so slow growing and it's not aggressive, it's stage 3 there, but these are stage 1. Like, you know, they're probably having a good time where they are. They don't want to go anywhere yet. Like, and I was so, at the time, I was doing all modelling and stuff, and I just didn't want as well to be cut open and have a scar there, because they didn't make it sound too pretty either. So I was just like, do I really want to cut myself? It just seemed very extreme to cut myself open. I just thought, this is fucked, basically. It just seems really extreme. He turned around to me and said, well, yeah, you know, you can leave it a year, but I guarantee in a year it would have eaten at your vocal cords, you would lose your voice, and then you would eventually die after that, basically. And I just thought, what? Really? Like, the thought of losing my voice. And I just thought, it's such a massive gamble. Like, all throughout my Facebook, I know everything, and I had so much support, because I was just like, I want to do it naturally, but I don't want to lose my voice. I don't want to kill myself. I don't know what to do. I was in such a scared state, so much so that it literally got scared into doing the surgery and radiation. Like, it just happened, and it was the worst experience ever. Like, the whole, I think this would have to say this for a whole other time, but the whole experience in hospitals for cancer patients, I really feel sorry, so sorry for them. Like, I won't get into it all, but the food, the atmosphere, it's so stagnant, so stale. Like, it's a sickness industry. Like, cancer patients are being fed like really bad stuff, like white processed bread, processed cheese, which is like one chemical away from plasticine or something stupid. Like, you know, just as an example, like the kind of crap that you're fed. But they say it's all home comforts, like the coffee lady comes around every 2 hours, gives you coffee and sugar. This stuff is really not good for like us. And at the time, I didn't even know about all this, you know. I knew I didn't like white bread and all that crap anyway, but I was still having whatever was going on around me. Had the worst experience in the hospital anyway, because the amount of morphine that was pumped in, and I was so depressed, because me and my partner at the time, we were having arguments. We were both quite toxic together. And he said he went numb, and I really need cuddles and stuff. Like, so I just wanted a bit more like love, and I just don't think he could give it to me, because he just didn't know, and he honestly just didn't know what to do with me, because I just needed cuddles, and I didn't have my family. I didn't have anyone around me that, you know, would know what I'm like genuinely know what I'm like. So he went numb, and we didn't see each other throughout the hospital stage while I was in there. So I kind of just had like my one friend come and visit me, and bring me, like, you know, clean my clothes and do stuff like that. And I turned into an absolute like depressed state. I had the curtain wrapped around me and I was crying so much so that they had to move me into my own room to keep the morale up, kind of thing, like to keep me like from
Oh,
not like, because it was a nice view and stuff. um and I had a social worker and all that stuff, because I just thought to myself, what have I done to deserve being in a, in a strange country with no family, and like not even my new kind of like husband could deal with the situation. So I was just like, well, I just didn't know what to do basically. And then something in me, like, oh, I tell you what it was. So there was a lady that I could hear in the next kind of bit next to me, and she was an older lady, and we didn't like really speak at all until I overheard lots of doctors in her room, and they basically told her that she had cancer and she was looking at not very long, and she was going to pass away. And I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, here I am feeling so sorry for myself because I don't have anyone around me and whatnot. This lady's all the way from Holland. She's got no family at all, like no, not one person. She was on a bird watching trip on her own, over like in Australian outback or somewhere. And literally she was told she was going to die, and that basically there was nothing they could do for her. So that from that moment I cleared up my act, and I was just like, why the hell am I going into myself feeling so sorry? I haven't been told that I'm going to die in a few days. You know what I mean? Like mine was like, okay, basically you've got this cancer, you're going to like, you're going to get over it. I have to get over it. That's how my understanding, like I had to. So I switched my whole view then, and I just went into like, right, I need to come out of this. I need to rectify the relationships around me. Like he's obviously not dealing with stuff. Like I'm not dealing with stuff. Like this is a really awkward situation. So when I come out of there, I went into had the surgery and then sorted stuff out. Then I went into radiation. I think the radiation was the surgery was in September, and then things got better with my relationship, and I tried to kind of deal with what was happening to me. And I had the scar was a lot worse, obviously, because it was just so big and puffy. I was like using necklaces to kind of like make it look pretty and fancy.
I can't even see
So
it.
from
I
September,
mean, literally, I can't even tell. There's
you know, he done an actual amazing job.
he
Like
must have.
seriously,
I
like
mean, yeah,
that.
it's I
He really
really
did
can't
do.
tell.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's a good thing. He did say that he was good. He did actually say that was what he was going for, because he understood that with my modelling and with all, just with my age as well and being so young and stuff, he did understand. Like he got that part of it all, which is cool. Yeah, and another thing to add, hospital, like I had the worst experience I've ever. I actually did think I was going to die because this surgeon in error took out my parathyroids. So we've got four parathyroids around the thyroid gland, and they kind of regulate the calcium and put it to where it's supposed to go and whatnot. And in error, they took them out because the cancer was so extensive in my neck. They took that out. So we didn't know this at the time, and I was in the hospital bed, and I just felt really ill, and I was on the phone at the time, and I was just like, I've really got to go, and I just kind of put the phone down, and then all of a sudden, my arms just started doing this, like locked, my whole head, like, and I was like, I literally was so stiff, I couldn't move. I was like, help, like someone came in, and I was like, I'm dying, and she was just like, you're not dying, and I was like, what's wrong with me then? And she was like, I don't know, and I was just started, I could feel a tear, my whole body wouldn't move, and my heart was like pounding, like, I'm surprised I did not like kill myself with what was going on in my head, because I just thought like I'm gonna give myself a heart attack, because I literally was just going crazy. And then an older lady nurse came in, and she was just like, I've checked her blood, her calcium is extremely low, so they started giving me high dose of calcium, and then they started unprising my hands. I'm like this, and she's like unprising my hand, and it fucking hurt. Like it really, really hurt. All my muscles had seized so hard, and I just pulled it apart, and they gave me more calcium and stuff. And then they explained to me later that the parathyroid, that there wasn't much activity. I was lucky if I even had one left. That usually that doesn't happen happen. And I thought because I had the best thyroid surgeon, you know, in Perth, that wouldn't happen. But I mean, you can't put, anything can happen on the day, I suppose. So then obviously now I don't have any parathyroids. Well, I've got one, I think, but I have to take calcium as well as obviously replace my thyroid with, I'm taking a natural one, I'm not taking the synthetic one, just to kind of replace the gland. I didn't know that a thyroid monitored your body heat, your metabolism, your hormone production. I didn't know all that.
Yeah,
I would have seriously... Yeah, you die without it. Like I wasn't told this, and I seriously would have thought long and hard about having to be on a pill for the rest of my life had I have been told that. Anyway, sod's law, I've got to like get over that. But then after that, things got a bit better. I was dealing with it. I was getting back into life, and I was starting to research all the healthy kind of ways that I could like help my body. So in December, I went in for radiation. That was horrific. Like I was at the very far end of the corridor, and so they forgot to feed me. Like I don't know if they just went around because you're not allowed. No one's allowed in, no one's allowed out, kind of thing, unless you're in like a spacesuit and stuff. And no one came around on one day, so I just thought, am I not supposed to be eating? So I was buzzing, and someone would come and I'd be like, am I supposed to be eating? So they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I haven't had breakfast, and I'm pretty sure lunch is about like happening. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, love, I'll get you some. No one came back at all. I buzzed again like 3 hours later, and I was just like, I'm supposed to be fed today, like, and no one's fed me, and I don't know where that lady's gone. And she's like, oh, she must have changed shifts, I'll get you something. I didn't get anything till about 10 o'clock that night, and what I did get was processed white bread and processed like cheese, and it was crap, but I had to eat it. I was so hungry, but now knowing about fasting and stuff, I should have just not. But anyway, so the whole radiation experience was bizarre, to say the least. So I knew that what I was taking in there I wouldn't be able to take out because it would be heavily radioactive, so I took one book in. I just read that. The whole experience was like person in a spacesuit stands at the doorway, and you're kind of just standing there in your like your attire, and then they have a capsule. It's so like something out of some space movie, and they open the capsule, and then they get these tweezers, and they've got this little capsule, and then they pass it to you, and then they say, right, drink that, eat that, and swallow that. And then they like get this machine, and they go whoop, 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 just to see kind of like what you are, and then they show you that you're like really fucking radioactive, and then they leave you to it, and then you kind of left to your own vices. And I think I was in there for like 2 days because they have to get, the radiation has to be to a certain point before they can allow you to go out. And I think I was drinking loads, but it was just so much. They gave me such a strong dose that I kind of just had to just drink and drink and drink, drink and pee, drink and pee, drink and pee, not eat, drink and pee, read the book. That's kind of what my 2 days was like, which is cool. But when I left there, so I checked myself into like a cancer lodge where they deal with that kind of stuff, and I stayed there for about 5 days. And that was cool. Like I just kind of reflected on stuff, and I didn't feel like radioactive. There was no like, I didn't feel like my pee was like luminous, or like I didn't feel like I didn't feel ill. I never felt ill through the whole thing. Even when I got diagnosed, I was like, I don't physically feel ill. I never physically looked ill. Like I didn't understand like how something could grow in me for 12 years and not have any symptoms. Like I was always up and down with my weight and stuff, but my diet was crap. Like, you know what I mean? Like before I knew what real health was, I was making myself go up and down by like partying, not eating, eating crap, partying. So I don't think that was linked, because they actually done a thyroid test on my actual thyroid, because the tumor was on the right side of the thyroid and the left side was fine, but they said they needed to take the whole thyroid because it's proven to go into the other side, which I wish they had just taken half now, because then I could like physically grow the rest back and then, you know, cater to not getting it back. But that's cool, it's gone. But also apparently you can grow your thyroid back with mushrooms. Mr. Don Tolman, I don't know if you've heard of him, he has I spoke to him and he told me that with 2 cups of mushrooms a day for like 9 to 12 months, even if you've got no thyroid, you can potentially grow your thyroid back by visualization and stuff like that. So that's another thing I'm kind of looking into. Anyway, I've gone off track, but back to the radiation. There's just so much information, like I need to get out that the
Yeah,
right
it's
information.
great. No, it's all good. It's
Thanks.
all good.
So,
It's all good.
so th- thanks, Han. So the radiation situation. So I had the 5 days out, and I had my scan on that following Monday. So I went literally straight from my 5 days out to the scan. So I had drunk and flushed myself out and stuff. All the radiation was gone. I was safe to go into public. I could sit on a bus with kids. I could go on the same toilet as people. I could do everything because there was no radiation left in me. So I'm going to this scan, and they told me that after I'd had radiation and stuff, there would be no issue. Like there would be absolutely no problem. So I went to the scan, did get my results back straight away. I think I went in. Okay, so the Monday after the radiation, I had the scan. Then I waited the 5 days. Then I went back to get the results while I was still in that 5 day incubator. So I kind of had the scan. Then I went, and then anyway. So they basically said to me that my doctor was away, my oncologist was away, and that they didn't want to give me the results. And the guy looked at me, and I was just like, why don't you want to give me the results? Like it's my information. Like I don't need to wait for her to get back off holiday. Like I would rather just know now. Like I've been like waiting around. Like, can you tell me? And he actually asked me, he goes, are you sure you're okay for me to tell you these? I just need to clarify that you're absolutely 100% that you want me to give you the results and not your oncologist. And I was like, fuck yeah, I want you to tell me. Like I need to know. And then that's when he was just like, well, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but the cancer has spread. It's now in your right lung, more down the lymph nodes in your chest, and at the back of the lymph nodes they're all tumours basically. He said that they're large scale tumours. And I was just like, what? Like, how did that happen? How can you cut out all the tumours, like all the large scale tumours, even a gland? How can you cut all that out, radiate me, which was going to mop up the last remaining stuff that was in the thyroid bed, and then all of a sudden there's like large tumours that have put themselves in place within a matter of like not even bloody long. Like, do you know what I mean? From September, from the surgery, December radiation, and then the scan and the results then too. So I'm just like, so what now? Like, I said, if the guy told me at the beginning that if this spread, I'm looking at 5 years to live. He looked at me and he goes, I can't actually say that. He said, but yeah, usually there is a life expectancy, you know, with what we're used to dealing with and stuff. And he's like, but I'm going to leave that for your oncologist to deal with. I'm really sorry to give you the news. But like, he was so sincere and he was so lovely. But like, I would hate to be in their position with some of the shit they tell people. Like, it's not a cool job. Like, they must get so much. They must be, the amount of energy around them, they must take it on a little bit themselves. I was like, I don't envy that role whatsoever. Anyway, after that, that's when I got super strong. I got really bloody angry because I just thought, no, you were supposed to save my life, and now you've made it worse. This also happened to my best friend and my cousin back in 2009 when I was traveling. I had a round the world ticket, so I was traveling around. Found out that both my cousin and my best friend, they got cancer, and I just didn't know about cancer too much, so I was just like, fuck. Like, you know, well what, like, but they both had really good expectancies. Like Frankie had a little pea, she called it a little pea-sized tumor above her ear. She had a tiny testicular tumor. Both of them had them cut out, both of them underwent chemo, and both of them died. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Wow.
it just pains me. It's because their tumor was so tiny. Had they have left it, yes, they would have died of cancer down the track. Even years down the track, it would have grown. Mine was 12 years old. You know, like mine obviously started as that pea and just went all over. You know, it would have taken over. I probably still would have had another 10 years or something,
How
whatever.
fast did your friends go?
Really bloody fast. Stupidly fast. From the moment Jay, my best friend, from the moment he got diagnosed to the moment he had surgery and chemo, 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Like literally.
But how long did he live after that?
Oh, no, he died from diagnosis, 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. With
Yeah,
testicular?
so, so he had
Wow.
testicular cancer. they cut out the lump, and he was on the phone to me while I was in Australia. He was just like, babe, it's all fine. They've given me like 90+% chance. Like literally all they have to do is cut it out. They might not even have to do anything else. But then they cut it out and it spread to his stomach because they fucking aggravated it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to cut some cells, aggravate them. They're going to move around the body. They're not going to be happy. Oh. And then, so they cut his spread to his stomach. They ended up giving him really aggressive form of chemo because it was just spreading like wildfire. Like, it was just going crazy. And just the whole situation of his story, like he ended up being moved hospitals, and because his immune system was so low, he got pneumonia, he got like shingles, he started getting like the shingles on his face and stuff. They didn't diagnose it, and they went away for the weekend, left him with it for the weekend. Come back Monday, he was just so bad, his lungs started bleeding, put him into an induced coma, and he died because he just couldn't take it. His body was just too weak. Like he literally just,
The treatment killed him.
Yeah, the treatment killed him, and that's what people on my health page, like, they're saying that I'm being an advocate for not using chemo. I'm not. I'm just saying what hasn't worked for people I love and what hasn't worked for me. If you want to do chemo, do chemo. Like, it's your choice. You have to believe in what you're going to do. If you don't believe in it, don't do it.
Well, it's interesting what you're saying too, because what's happening is your story is like so many others. Most people today know other people, friends or family members, or acquaintances that have been diagnosed with cancer, and they've watched them suffer and die. Right?
Yeah.
Just like you did with your friend. And that's why we're approaching a tipping point, because so many people have seen the ravages of cancer treatment. They've seen it not work. They've seen how brutal it is. And then when they get cancer, they're like, shoot, I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't be so passionate if I hadn't, like, fair enough, I've got my story, and fair enough, like, I done their way and it spread it, and then like it didn't work for me. Yeah, that's my story. But I've actually lost 2 people. They're not here anymore because they underwent these treatments. Like it's plain black and white. I'm not making it up. I'm not just fabricating it. I'm not elaborating. Like, speak to their mums. Like, see the pain in their eyes at losing their children. Like, this is serious stuff. People say that it works for them. It works for them. How long does it work? At what cost to their body? It's killing good cells and it's killing bad cells. Whereas eating pineapple and being healthy and taking sodium selenite that I've done, that's not killing the good cells. You're keeping the essence of you, but just eliminating anything your body doesn't want to eliminate. Our bodies are so good at healing. They're such amazing healers. They want to heal. That if given the right tools, radiation, cutting yourself open, poisoning yourself, in my book, is not the right tool. Like, how can anybody seriously think that it is? I just actually really confused with the world we live in. How can people think that this is normal and this is okay? Like 50 to 100 years ago, bloodletting and lobotomies and all that, they were considered the norm. And we all, used to, back in the day, they'd cut a chunk out of their arm, drain their blood to get rid of their cold. That was normal. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I'm hoping that in 50 to 100 years' time, we look back and we laugh at poisoning, cutting people open, cutting people's breasts off. You know what I mean? Like, just stuff that I just can't believe. Like, I really pray that people wake up and in 50 to 100 years' time, this is just a change. I do feel a different consciousness, like, changing. I do feel something's going on, and I'm happy
Things
to
are changing.
It's definitely changing, and that's why I'm happy to take all these haters and like these people that are trying to, like, demand stuff from me and just be really bloody annoying. It's just, I'm happy to do that, and I'm happy to kill them all with kindness, because I just want them to see what I see, and I want people to wake up. I don't want people to be sucked into this and be killed unnecessarily. Like,
that's right.
Why can't more people talk up about doing natural stuff? Why do I have to be like, why do I have to have this kind of hate on me because I'm sharing a story, like a real story, a story that's close to me, that I feel that's going to help people? This story is bigger than me. Like, when I'm not here anymore, I'm hoping that my story will still remain so that people still see that there are other options that do work, that don't harm you, that don't poison you, that don't make you lose your hair, that don't make you vomit violently. Like, I'm going to a funeral today for my partner's stepmom. She has been fighting cancer for years and she passed away the other day. She's had extensive chemo treatments, and today I am literally going to her funeral. And it's just like, I don't need to be doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even her family around her know what I've done and how I've done it. And I came into the situation way too late. Once you've had that stuff done to your body, who knows what you've done? Like, you've not done a good thing for it. Not in my eyes. Like, I really don't believe so. I think your immune system does not know how to defend itself, does not know what it's doing. So if I was to come in, like, at this stage and say, hey, look, try this, try some fruit, try meditating, try all the stuff that I tried, would it really work like at that far down the track? You know what I mean? It's just
you're right. I mean, that's the thing. Most people who try nutrition or a holistic approach, they try it too late. They've already been brutalized. Their body has been wrecked, and it's their last resort, right?
Yeah.
It's their last resort, and here's the crazy thing is I know, and I've interviewed people who have recovered even after going through all those brutal treatments and have recovered. But a lot of people who are stage 4 and if the doctors have sent them home to die, a lot of them are too far gone and they can't recover. But they'll try something and then everybody says, see, it didn't work. Right. And the truth is conventional therapy failed them first and destroyed their body and left them in a state that they couldn't recover from. But let's talk about specifically what you did. Here you are, stage 4. Treatments didn't work. You're worse off than when you started. What'd you do?
I never actually heard the stage 4 thing. So my
Well, I know, but if it's in your lungs, if it's in 2 organs, that's stage 4.
Oh, see, I don't know about all that. I'm getting so much harassment. All I know is that, like, yeah, it spread to my lung. And so, yeah, whatever stage that is, at the end of the day, all I know is that I just wanted to live. I was like, at least I can try and fight it where it is. I knew that if it did spread, I knew, yeah, that was quite dangerous because I knew that it was quite slow growing here. And then all of a sudden it went fast and aggressive growing. To have slow growing, have everything chopped out, and then all of a sudden to have big tumours come up down my chest and stuff and my neck and stuff. To me, that's pretty fast growing from surgery September to December. So
yeah, this happens all the time. This happens all the time after surgery and radiation and chemo, which you didn't have, but it causes the cancer to become much more aggressive, and it starts spreading like wildfire.
You're chopping yourself open and you're putting oxygen to it and stuff. You know, you're feeding it and it's breaking off and it's going into other parts. No wonder like people have all these treatments, get cured, and then like 10 years down the line they get it back because there's still some cells that got chopped off, got a bit angry and hid out for a little while, save themselves, and then they kind of like come back with a vengeance because they will attack the host even at the host's costs. And it's like, it's just quite scary what's actually going on.
So what'd you do?
So, basically, when I got I had the radiation, the doctor told me, that wasn't actually my doctor, but then I went and saw my oncologist when she was back, and she basically said that there's not really much they could do for me for 6 to 9 months because they'd already done so much. So maybe come back, and then what they would do is they would give me more radiation and chemo, and instantly alarm bells just started ringing in my head. I was just like, nah. Like, I was like, you're supposed to save my life and it spread. How did this happen? She goes, well, we expect, you know, when we do the surgery, we expect it to kind of break off, but then that's why we do the radiation and it mops it up. She just kind of gave me this spiel about, you know, this could happen, but, you know, come back in 6 to 9 months and we'll give you some more treatments and then, you know, we'll handle it then. So I was just like, nah, this doesn't seem right to me. And I was like, well, what should I do for the 6 to 9 months? Like, what do I do? Just kind of like know that it's in there. And she goes, well, just come back knowing that we'll treat it. And then I was like, well, should I change my diet? And she was just like, no, diet's got nothing to do with it. So then I thought, this is absolute bullshit, because the scam that they gave me was a glucose-based solution, which is sugar. So you're feeding the tumours sugar, see if they eat it up. You're starving them, then you're feeding them, and then you're scamming somebody. So to me, I'm not a dumb person. So I was just like, it's got to be something to do with diet, because you're feeding it sugar to see if it's hungry and if it's eating it and if it's there. So then I was just like, nah. I just was like, all right, yeah, I'll come back in 6 to 9 months and I'll see what else got for me. And just went, myself, right, this is it. I have 6 months, maximum 9, but they could call me in at any time. I was like, I have 6 months to get rid of this myself, or at least reduce it and prove to myself that I can reduce it this time. And I was like, pardon, I swear quite a lot, it's from London. But I was like, fuck what everyone thinks, like, around me now. I have already done it their way. I've gone through the conventional route. It didn't work. So, like, what, now I'm just going to, like, wait to die? I was like, they've killed my best friend and cousin through these treatments. When they said the chemo word, I was just like, nah. No, there's no way, because the other one they made sound a bit airy-fairy, you know, it just targets the thyroid bed and la 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 la, only targets thyroid tissue, doesn't do anything else. So I thought I was pretty safe, it wasn't going to harm anything else. But I didn't know it upped your chances of like leukemia by 70%, because they don't tell you that. Anyway, so then within this 6 months, I literally went onto Google and I was just like, natural cancer cures, and I just looked into everything. I watched DVDs, and like, obviously you have to be a human filter with these kind of things. I was just like, right, so I was still eating fish and stuff back then, so I was just like, okay, salmon's good for cancer fighting, cooked tomatoes, bok choy, strawberries. So I was just like looking at all these lists, so I just started adopting all these things, and I loved all these, so I was like, all right, sweet. So I just started slowly adopting these things. Then I went on a site, doctorsAreDangerous.com, and this Hollywood, like old-time Hollywood star, she got a form of cancer, took their drugs and stuff, and it ended up making her worse. And so I just thought, right, well, this is similar to me. I need to kind of listen to what this lady's saying. And so I can't remember what her name is, Elaine Hollingworth, I think. Yeah, she's incredible.
I'll put a link to it.
Huh?
I'll put a link to it below the video.
Yeah, oh, yeah, amazing. So then basically I went, I saw on her thing that she mentioned about like nutritional, kind of like curing it with nutrition, and there was this thing, NORI, Nutritional Oncology Research Institute, institute in LA, who were like helping people cure themselves of cancer with food. And because I'd already adopted that, I thought, well, fuck, I could speak to professionals. I'm just kind of like winging it on my own, like finding stuff on the internet, but I need to literally speak to someone who knows what they're doing. So I messaged them, and I got a message back from Mark Simon, who's the founder. And he was just like, yeah, we can definitely help you. He explained his story, his wife, he was always a scientist. His wife got cancer, and the mother of his children, and she passed away, like literally after battling. He saw her battle, and he saw like chemo and everything deteriorate her. He, like, with his scientific eyes, he just saw, this isn't right. So he turned all of his, from what he was doing to curing cancer, or just to helping people like manage the disease, you know. None of this curing, no one will ever be really 100% cured. Like, managing it, arresting it, and just, you know, living without having the scare tactic, like the scared in you. So basically, when I found out his story and how passionate he was, because he'd lost his wife and he just wanted people, I was instantly just like, okay, what do I do? So I told him my diet. I told him that, because I was working up in the mines again then. So I said, look, I'm having a morning omelette. I'm having some fish. I'm having lots of salad, lots of veggies. And he was like, your diet's not optimal. And I thought like I was doing really well. And he was like, it's not optimal. You need like a whole fruit diet. You need low methionine diet, which is basically an amino acid that feeds cancer. And it can be found in nuts as well as meat and dairy, but it's predominantly meat and dairy and things like that. So basically he said that no eggs, no that. And I'd already kind of stopped doing the red meat and stuff through my own research, but the eggs I stopped. I just literally started adopting, like, I ate so much, literally it was the pineapple as well. But he told me, he was just like, there are certain enzymes in certain tropical fruits that will eat away the protective protein layer of the cancer cell. So the bromelain in pineapple would eat the protective protein layer, and then basically it's weakened. So then you can zap it with vitamins. You know, you can zap it with what will kill it, like sodium selenite and vitamin K, which is what I was using once I'd started his protocol. So at first, I literally just started just doing the diet that he said until he could get the vitamin K and the sodium selenite to me.
Talk about the diet. Talk about what you ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay, cool. So any fruit I could get hold of, because I was in the mines, it's quite hard to get hold of everything, although they just had fresh chopped pineapple every day, and I bloody loved it, and it was like one of the things on his list. So I was like, right, he said kiwi, papaya, mango, pineapple. So because there was so much pineapple, I literally would like make a tub, like a little sandwich tub, make 3 or 4 of them for my day. So first thing in the morning, so I'll tell you the whole protocol from when I got the vitamins and stuff. So day 1 to 7 is whole fruit only, basically. You can have a bit of sweet potato and a bit of salad, but you may as well just kind of like stick to the whole fruit. So I was literally doing.
So you said, hang on. You said the first 7 days.
Yeah, the first 7 days.
All fruit.
Yeah.
All fruit.
All fruit.
Okay, and it was mostly tropical fruit, right?
Yeah, mostly tropical fruit. I mean, you can have any kind of fruit that you can get your hand on, but if you can get mango, papaya, kiwi, pineapple, it's all on his website as well. So yeah, put a link to that. If you can get hold of pineapple, especially because of the bromelain and just the fruits with these high enzymes.
And papaya is rich in papain, which is another. Papain is like bromelain. It's another proteolytic enzyme that's in papaya.
Right. See, exactly. And there's a whole science to food that I never even knew, but I'm so glad I did because it's just incredible. So day 1 to 7, yeah, which is well, basically day 1 to 10. If you're going to say the whole protocol, day 1 to 10 was all fruit. So pineapple. I was having dates, raisins, you know, just stuff like that, just to kind of get my calories up as well. So I did lose a lot of weight, but because I wasn't eating too many calories. In the morning, I would have a beetroot, carrot, celery juice. Now, it's best to do organic juices, but I couldn't really source that up in the mines. But every single morning, beetroot, carrot, celery juice to cleanse the blood and, you know, do its thing. Then for days, yeah, so up until, I would do the juice up until day 8, 9, and 10. So I would do fruit only for 1 to 10. Juice would stop on day 8, and that's when day 8, 9, and 10, the vitamins would start, because the juice, you wouldn't want it to mix. You need kind of, because you've starved the cancer cell of the methionine for so long, it's weakened. So then you don't want anything to kind of infiltrate or get to the cell. You want the vitamin K and the sodium selenite to get to the cell. So basically day 8, 9, and 10, morning and evening, and then a couple of times in between so the first thing in the morning I take the vitamin K, 25 to 50 drops in a cup of water, drink that, and then like 3 times throughout the day I would suck on a sodium selenite tap. Like, there's no side effects, no nothing, it's all natural. And I've done that for the 3 days. Days 11, 12, 13 and 14 are like your refuel days. It's all vegan. It's like your nuts, your avo. I even had a bit of organic sourdough rye. Like, you can just kind of refuel, and you just like have so much appreciation for food. It's like,
did you have any beans and rice?
No, I didn't. I think he said I could have had brown rice and stuff, but I didn't even bother. I literally just kind of stuck to, I would do my little speciality. I would do like the sourdough rye, avocado, cooked, lightly cooked tomatoes, sprinkle of like soaked almonds, because I had no parathyroid. Soaked almonds are high in calcium, so I try and get it from a natural source as much as I can. So I just went crazy on soaked almonds for them 4 days. Like, everything consisted of them, and then I would start the protocol again. So you do the 14-day protocol. I started noticing I started getting a vibrating nose because of my calcium was so low. So what he done was he changed it for me. He made it 7 days of fruit, and then 7 days of whatever vegan food I wanted, just so I could get those nuts in, because obviously my calcium was just so long, and they didn't want me to lock up again. So the first 2 times I done it the normal way that he prescribes to people, and then the rest of the time, the other 2 times, I did it 7 and 7, and I didn't get the shaky nose, because once you get a vibrating nose, you know that your whole body is going to spasm. So I didn't want
Really?
that.
So what, it like tingle? Your nose would tingle?
Your whole nose vibrates, like it vibrates, and your face starts vibrating, and you feel like you've got full-on pins and needles in your face.
Wow.
And then your whole body, it's full-on body pins and needles, and then like you get the lock, and then you just like, you're literally, your whole body, because calcium's so, I didn't know that calcium was so like important for muscles and stuff. Like I didn't see, people don't know a lot about themselves, I don't think
No.
these days. They don't even know what bloody thyroid was. So you learn a lot when you kind of have to. It's like you learn how strong you are when you have to be strong, and it's just like I've
Well,
learned
you know,
so much.
the sad thing is a lot of people, they don't want to learn any of that, you know? They just want the doctor to fix them, and they don't want to take responsibility for their health. They don't want to learn. They don't want to grow. They don't want to change their life. You know, they don't want to take control of their situation, and that's really what's the sad thing.
And that is what the sad thing is. It's really annoying because there's like a pill for every ill, and it's like, okay, I'm feeling a bit down. I'm going to go to the doctor, and the doctor's going to tell me I'm depressed. I'm going to get a pill that's going to just keep me on this pill and keep me more depressed and stuff. When you could have a banana, which like, you know, stimulates the serotonin, makes you kind of like more happy and stuff. There are so many different fruits and foods and stuff that deal with everything that they kind of deal with in their kind of world. And why wouldn't you, well, I don't get why you wouldn't rather try the natural way. Why are we called quacks? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, I watched this documentary which made me laugh so much. So this documentary turned around and was just like, so it started out like there was the people selling their lotions and potions on their little carts. And then there were obviously the natural people, you know, going around saying you can heal it with meditation and blah blah blah. The people with the lotions and potions were obviously a bit more ruthless, and they like, you know, they worked their way up a bit more, got more money, got more power, pretty much like the world that we live in. You know, they just worked their way up, got these big institutions, looked really powerful, got all this fancy equipment, you know, started practicing on people and just, you know. Actually, some of the stuff is amazing. Like, I'm not knocking it whatsoever, but just the way that we are branded quacks because we didn't go the ruthless way, and we're still promoting like the natural, you know, the natural way. But because they're on such a higher, you know, status as what the naturopaths of the world are and whatnot, and we're coming from a better place. We don't brand them like quacks and stuff. We're just saying that their stuff isn't working. People are dying. Let's rethink the model. You know,
Right.
let's make it a health industry, not a sickness industry. Let's start taking green smoothies into cancer patients. Let's start giving them real raw nutrition. You know, food that's alive, that is going to feed their cells, their very beings, and make them happy. The reason why most people are depressed is because of their bloody diets these days. Like everything, like what you're putting in your mouth is either feeding or preventing disease. Like that's as simple as it is, but people just don't get that. They just walk around with their cans of Coke and think it's doing nothing. It's like poison in a can, you know?
You're right. You're absolutely right. I agree with everything you're saying. I'm glad to hear you say it. Okay.
But then they make...
But so
Sorry, you go.
before we could talk for hours, right? But I want
know.
to make sure for the people watching that they know the rest of your story and the timeline, right? So you started this protocol. And then what happened, right? When did you start seeing changes? When, you know?
Okay, perfect. So basically, I started the protocol, and so I left them in December, January, and then that's when I started researching myself. And then I instantly started the diet from like January. And he sent me the pills over, and then I started the protocol. I'd done the protocol like 4 times. So it was like January. The next time I was due in for a test result was May. So between that time and a few months there, that was basically when I was on severe survival mode. I was like in the toilet meditating, because the people around me that didn't really understand it, and I didn't have a spare room. I kind of would lock myself in the toilet and meditate and be grateful. Or I would go and ground myself. I'd walk barefoot on the grass and recharge my cells. You know, stuff that I'd never even heard of yoga, tai chi, just looking up at the sky and just wondering and just asking questions and being thankful, and just all sorts of stuff that I had never even been accustomed to, which actually bloody worked. Because when I got my test results, which I have here somewhere, it was 0.7 So basically, so 28th of the 5th, 2012, it had gone down from level 13, which is when I left them, to zero point 0.7. So literally, I had got rid of most of it, and then 7th of the 7th was 0.4, 31st of the 8th, 12th was 0.4, and then it stayed at 0.4 for a very long time. It was pretty
For the
bloody
Americans
annoying.
watching this, that's 0.4.
Oh, sorry, 0.4. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, it's the last remaining thing. So there's a lot of people on my health stuff saying, okay, so yeah, the radiation is still in you for a few months after, and that would have been still working. I don't understand though how the cancer spread. Even after the radiation scan, there was large tumors and stuff. After they'd done everything, it had spread, so it was like in my lung. You know what I mean? It was more down here, more there. And then they reckon it was still working and still getting rid of it.
No,
But then
the
how
radiation, it was not still working. It didn't work. It's not just
come?
gonna,
This is what.
it's not gonna start working when you have, as time goes by, you have less and less radiation in your body. It's not gonna start working better and better the less radiation that's in your body. I mean,
Exactly
it's
my
just,
honey,
yeah.
this is exactly my point, right? So even now, 3 years on, it was at zero point 0.4 for so long, and then I was like, I'm gonna get this. Like I was so determined. I just stuck at, like, I didn't do his protocol over and over and over and over again. Once I got the main chunk, I didn't feel like I needed to kind of like be that strict, because I was being stupidly strict. I went down to like size, really, I don't know if it's the same size as what you have over there, but it was the UK 6. I went too strict. I was just juicing. I wasn't getting much protein after that. I went stupidly strict because I wanted to get rid of this. I wanted to prove that I could do it. And then I tried not to be so strict after a while. I was like, God, this, because people were saying I looked ill. I had made myself look ill by just like juicing way too much. Like there's a balance. There's definitely a balance. But literally, the people that are saying that the radiation was still working its magic, how come then 3 years on, I literally last week just got the zero point 0.1 result with
Oh,
no
sweet.
with no treatment, no nothing. So I've got
Yeah.
rid of the 0. So the 0.7 that was their initial one, then the 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4. Then it went to 0.3 for a little while, and it stuck on 0.2 for a good bloody year. And I was just like, I'm not having this 0.2. It's now 0.1, which apparently is normal range. So there's nothing in me. Even like when I went back to them, so when I went back for the scan, I had a full body scan. It was like May, June of 2012. So just after I'd had like a good 6 months after the radiation, I had a full body scan. I'd done a PET scan, and it tested for every kind of cancer everywhere. There was nothing, like nothing, absolutely nothing. Then do you know what they said to me? They were like, oh well, sometimes these tests aren't that sensitive, so we'll do a sensitive serum test. And then they done the sensitive serum test, which showed that there was this 0.7, which I was like, fine, that's cool. Okay, if there's 0.7, I'll go for that. And then they basically, she said to me, but we still want to mop this 0.7 up. We still want to give you that radiation. And I just looked at her and I was like, are you crazy? I was like, you cut me open and you radiated me. It spread, and then you left me to my own devices, scared witless and not sure what to do. And now you want to radiate me because you think that 0.7 I won't be able to get rid of myself. And she was like, it's not possible for you to get rid of this yourself. And I said, so tell me, have I got rid of the rest of that myself, or was that you? And I had to make her clarify that, because I knew in my head I didn't want to be going around doing what I'm doing now and know that I was living a lie. So I made her clarify. I said, just tell me, was it your efforts or was it mine? And she said, it's not possible for it to be theirs because the radiation had gone. She goes, keep doing what you're doing, yes, but this 0.7 is going to be so stubborn that it will come out really aggressive later and it will take over my body. It's basically what she said. So then I was just like, well, I don't believe you. And then I said to her, I said, look, I don't think you're a bad person. I really don't. I said, you've come into this medical world really wanting to help people, you deal in radiation. You're a nuclear medical oncologist. That's what you do. You're not going to hand me a bit of broccoli and say, here, this broccoli cures cancer, because you don't deal in broccoli. You deal in radiation because you're trying to save people. I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't really like what you're doing, and I can't be part of this anymore. And then she was just, you could tell she was coming from a good place and that she really sincerely cared, and you could tell she thought I was killing myself with the choice I was making, because she's so conditioned to be that way. She's had so much med school with no nutrition education that that's all she knows. So I didn't blame her. I just thought, I hope one day that you wake up. I hope there are more doctors that wake up and start prescribing broccoli and pineapple before they start radiating people, because the world would be a damn sight, but like way better. It would just be so much better, and people would still be here, you know, that wouldn't necessarily need to die at such a young age, or at any age that they're dying. And then I went off, and that's when I was just like, nah, I'm going to do this 0.7 myself. And so I just continued on. Like I just went, yeah, like I said, I went hardcore juicer. I done like water fasts. So I thought I need to detox. So I was like, I done a 5-day water fast, ate cell food, had cell food in all my water, juiced, meditated, all that kind of stuff. And I've just been kind of living that ever since. I mean, I did, because I loved meat and I loved fish and I loved dairy. Like growing up, like meat and all that was like such a staple part of my diet. That once I got over the chunk of like the cancer being gone, I started to have some fish again and stuff, you know. I started to like incorporate, you know, I think, oh, well, perhaps I can have, you know, a bit of this and a bit of that. And for some reason I did it, but then my psyche wouldn't allow it. So like I conditioned myself that I didn't need that anymore. So like it's not through like choice that I'm doing that now. It's just because I just don't really want to. You know what I mean? It's different. It's like, I know that there's certain amino acids and stuff in that stuff, not to mention mercury and all the other stuff that is in today's food and stuff. That's just not good. Even fruit, you want to be good and stuff, but then you find out the amount of pesticides that's put on everything. It's like you can't get away from stuff, so you just have to do the best that you can with what you've got. Like now I like use aluminium free bicarb. Oh, I had that every night as well. So I have my warm lemon water with Himalayan salt every morning, and a aluminium-free bicarb in water at night. I've done that religiously. I still do that religiously to alkalize my system and just kind of like clear out any crap.
When did you start that? Did you start that right from the beginning, or did you add it later?
Oh, that was from the very beginning. That was one of the first things that I researched. One of the first things was just about keeping the acid alkaline balance and stuff, you know, just making sure that, you know, disease breeds in an acid environment. So just to try not to be so acidic. Like obviously you still need like stomach acid, you still need acid in your body, but it's just like your cells and stuff, basically it's all down to environment. Like how your environment is how your insides are going to be. We can't see what's going on. There's shitloads of people out there walking around with stuff inside them that they don't know is there, because they're not looking after the environment. So now if we do all that we can to look after the environment, we know that we're doing the optimal or the best that we possibly can do without seeing our insides, without trying to get any kind of disease and stuff. Like, who wants to like think one day they're going to get a disease? You know, every time I see someone with a can of Coke or like just something crap in their hand, I'm instantly just like, would you really want to hurt yourself? Like, you know, you think it's just minor and stuff because it tastes bloody good and it's so addictive, but the long-term effects like diabetes and stuff, it's unreal, and it really pains me that we're just so greedy in this day and age, and we're being given so much like stuff to consume that we just don't stop for a second and think, well, you know, cancer wasn't here, it wasn't as prolific 50 years ago, and guess what? McDonald's wasn't here 50 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like as mainstream, nor was all these big processed foods and stuff. So there's a correlation, like the China study, definitely reference the China study, but it just proves what's going on with the correlation to the food we're eating. Food is massive, and anybody who does not link food to health seriously has some issues. That's why I can't really deal with these people on my health page, because I'm just like, I just don't know where they're coming from. Cancer, it's just a little bit behind the time. There's other ways. I mean, I read something today about they do use some kind of fruit extract in their chemo, apparently. So it's like, well, if they do, then why don't they just go full hog and not use poison? Why don't they use the full fruit?
There's no money in it. There's no money in nutrition, and you know what? The craziest thing about it is when we're called quacks, and what we're talking about is called quackery. What's so amazing is that this is a branch of science called nutritional science. There are dozens of nutritional science scientific journals. They've been published for decades. There is, I mean, thousands and thousands of studies on the power of nutrition to promote health in the body, the anti-cancer compounds in food, the enzymes in pineapple. I mean, it's just, you couldn't, it's volumes, like it's voluminous amounts of scientific information that exists that the media doesn't talk about, the medical industry isn't interested in, and the average person has no idea that it exists. And all they're doing is they're just regurgitating what they hear on the news every night, what their doctors tell them, and that's what we're up against. But here's the thing, and I think I might have told you this in a private message, but you just have to focus on helping the people that want your help, and you can't worry about arguing people. You'll never change anybody's mind. There's a certain group of people, and it's a small percentage right now that understand what we're talking about, that are like us, right? And those are the people that you can serve, and the people that you can help and encourage and share information with, right? Those are the people you can help, and everybody else you can't. And just don't worry about them.
No, I'm getting trapped into that because I just want everybody to kind of wake up. So when I'm getting like these messages and stuff, I'm replying to them, and it is so draining. But I just want people to know that I'm coming from a good space. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. There's no way
Of course not.
There's no way I would be able to hurt it. I've seen what my family went through when we lost like our family members, my best friend. I saw the family. I was at the funerals and just seeing the pain and stuff. There's no way I could go through life knowing that I'm doing them any injustice whatsoever. Like, I'm doing this for them. They are my fuel. Like, they lost their lives and their battles, and I'm here and I didn't. So, I'm going to keep fighting, and I won't shut up. I won't be shut up by people. Like, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than my ego. Whatever I'm thinking in my head that, like, oh my God, people are going to hate me. People are listening. It's bigger than that. People are dying. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm not here.
For what it's worth, I think right now in Australia, I mean, people are highly sensitized to this issue because Belle Gibson, that kind of scandal about her claiming to have cancer or something. And then, wellness warrior Jess Ainscough, who ended up dying. And so I think it's made a lot of people more skeptical and cynical, which is really sad. It's really unfortunate.
It is sad.
But anyway, you just keep doing what you're doing, and you help the people you can help, and you just keep putting your story out there, keep sharing information from a position of love and kindness, and you'll see things change. They change. But don't let the haters get you down. Don't waste any time on them. You don't owe them an answer. You really don't.
I know, and the thing is, like, what they don't seem to understand is that I'm a real human being. So their words do hurt, and stress is so big in the world of illnesses. Like, stress is like the #1 cause of most things. So,
Absolutely.
when these people are messaging me and they're demanding stuff and they're just being downright rude to me, it plays a part. As much as I'm quite a strong person, and I would just brush it off, and I'll try and message them with love and just try and appeal to the hurt person in them. Still, I know that it must be having an effect on me, and people wonder why people pass away and stuff from these kind of things. It's because of the stress that are surrounding it. Do you know what I mean? Like, stress is so it's huge. People need to really focus on not being stressed and not stressing. These people that are stressing me out are actually stressing themselves out. They are tirelessly writing on their computer. I don't think they actually sleep, to be honest, because they are constant. Like, seriously.
Listen,
so
stress and fear and anxiety will suppress your immune system. They do it, and you've probably read this. Suppresses your immune system. It will make you sick, and when you live in a prolonged state of stress from multiple sources, it will destroy your health. And, there's an interesting point I'd like to make related to you and other people is, for some cancer patients, when they, like us, right, they choose a natural route, nutrition, holistic approach to health. And when they come out, right, and go public, they get attacked. And for some, it's a really bad idea because they're not emotionally equipped to handle the stress of all these cowardly internet parasites. Because that's what they are. They're cowards, they're parasites.
Oh, fake profiles.
Just nasty people. And I really felt bad for Jess because she really endured a lot of criticism. And I think it was ultimately one of the reasons that she went downhill so quickly.
I was thinking too.
Toward the end.
Yeah.
The grief from her mom, and I haven't spoken about this publicly, but anybody that makes it this far in our interview, the grief from losing her mom, coupled with all the attacks that she started to get online, I can't imagine what that was doing to her psychologically.
I wish I'd have known her to just hug her and just... It makes me so sick. Like, it gives me goosebumps because I can feel her pain. Now I'm going through it. These people don't realize what they're doing. All they do, either way, it's just not cool. And if Jess was going through what I'm going through, then yeah, her health definitely would have taken a hit because it is stress beyond belief. You're trying to help people and you're getting attacked from all angles and not the nicest either, It plays a part and we're normal human beings. We can't knock this or block this out. So yeah, okay, Jess has passed away, and so is Polly Noble from the UK. So they passed away. So basically, it's just giving these people more backup to say, see, the natural way doesn't work. But yeah, there's not much, emphasis put on what's happened.
Listen, if Jess and Polly Noble and Steve Jobs and Jess's mom, right? There's 4 people, are proof that nutrition and natural therapies and Gerson therapy and whatever, the things that they did don't work, then the 580,000 people that die every year in the U.S. alone are certainly proof that those therapies don't work.
Well, that's my point.
So let's just be fair about it, right? Let's use logic, right? There's 4 people who tried nutrition and things and it didn't work for them and they died. Here's 580,000 in the U.S. that die every year. So
but where are those published? It's
right.
like they're all sites that are we need to keep doing what we're doing. Like I'm so honored by you as well because what you're doing is incredible. When I first got diagnosed, I literally was looking up everyone and anyone. I spoke to Polly and I spoke to you, and I was just like, damn, this is amazing what's going on. People are actually standing up for what they believe. You've not been scared off by these people. And that's why the other day I reached out to you because I just wanted to know how you deal with it without letting it deter your health or your mental state. Because I really felt like I was I just felt like I was getting weakened. And I need to reach out to people like you so that
Here's my advice. Here's my advice to you and to anyone that's in your position that maybe you've gone public, you're trying to heal yourself. To anybody out there, one, if you start getting attacked a lot, just take a step back. Just take a step back. Get off Facebook, right? Just step back because ultimately you just need to get well, right? Yeah. Your health is the most important thing. Forget about the critics. Forget about all those people. Don't waste time on them. Just focus on you. Get well. And then if you need to circle back in a year or 2 years and then you want to really, fight with them, okay, be my guest. But the way I handle it is, I don't read comments. I mean, typically I don't read through. I mean, I try to read comments on Facebook to my posts and on YouTube and on my blog, but ultimately there's too many comments. I can't read them all anyway. And I just scan through them. And if I start to read one where it's somebody attacking me, I just shrug my shoulders and move on. I don't respond. I never respond. Rarely. And sometimes I'll delete the comment. Sometimes I'll leave it and let other people defend me. That's just don't respond. That's my best advice. And don't dwell on it. I mean, don't read it and think about it and let it hurt you, You just have to shrug your shoulders and say, this person's a coward. Yeah, this person's a coward. They don't know me. They don't know anything about, I mean, nutrition. They've never met anyone who's actually healed cancer. I mean, this is just a clueless person who has nothing better to do than lash out at me. So, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's perfect advice. Thank you for that. Seriously, I mean, because it's so fresh and so new, I'm literally taking everything on board. I'm like a sponge at the minute. I'm like, oh my God, I want to help. Why, why am I getting attacked? But you're right. Like I've realized that I give them their answer that they want, and then they find something else to pick, and then something else. And I'm like, now they
You
want all
can't
my
win.
medical records, and I've just had legal advice too, said not to give them my medical records, which makes perfect sense. Like, why should I hand over all my records to people? And it's just like, I just can't, I'll never win. Even if I gave them my medical records, they would rip them apart and they would find something else. So I've just literally, I'm going to take your advice on board, step back. And my health is way too important. Like, if I'm not healthy, I can't fight for what's right. And there's
Yeah.
no way I'm going to be the next, natural cancer curer, or not curer, natural cancer like person who dies, because I don't want them to have another thing to, prop them up. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, don't feed the
Basically.
trolls. That's the first rule of the internet.
No,
Don't
there's so
feed the
many.
trolls. You just can't. You don't respond, right? Don't respond because you cannot win. You can't win the conversation.
Okay.
It's just going to get you all anxious and worked up, and it's going to
It,
distract you from your day, and you're just trying to think of a response. It's,
it really, babe. I spent all yesterday. Yeah, you're just so right. I need to just like break free. It's so hard when it's so personal, and you just want people to realize, but I don't think they ever will.
they won't. Believe me, they will not. So stop wasting time responding to them. Just don't do it. You'll be so much happier. You'll be
Thank
so
you.
much
No,
happier.
I feel happier just talking to you and hearing you say that. Like, I don't think I felt this happy in a whole week.
Good.
Thank you. So
Good,
you're an
good. Yeah.
absolute
The thing is,
legend.
you don't have to fight. Don't fight. You know what I'm saying? Don't
I
fight.
don't want to. I don't want to
You
fight
just
for the
share
wrong
you share
reasons.
your story. You share your story, and you share information, and it's for for a small group of people that are ready, willing, and able to accept it. And you don't the ones that want to fight with you about it, just walk away.
Yeah,
Just don't fight.
I definitely. I think I'm just gonna leave them to it.
Yep.
You're good. Thank you for that.
I'm right about this.
Oh, I definitely right. I definitely agree with you. I feel better just hearing it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Candice Marie, thank you so much. This was awesome. Like, I'm super excited to share this. Hey, anyone who's watching, if you made it this far, I hope you made it all the way through the interview. Please share this, share her story, subscribe to my channel. And where can people find you? Where can the trolls
Well,
find you?
basically, the trolls can find me on my. They definitely already know that my Facebook page is healthycandy.me. And the website is www.healthycandy.me. But that's not up yet. I'm still working out like what to share and what to
What
give
you want it to
people,
be.
and
Sure.
what people. Well, I just want people to like. It's all going to be whatever people want. Like, what do they want? Like, what do they want to know from me? So I'm collating some ideas and stuff.
I can
Just
tell you
about
what they want. They just want to know what you did. That's what they want. They just want to know what you did. Sure. Hey, put this
Perfect.
video on there, and
Well,
Yeah.
I'll definitely put this video on there. I'll definitely give them what they want, because at the end of the day, I just want to help people leave a legacy and just help make the world a little bit more better, like a little bit brighter,
Yeah.
and just be a little bit of a source of inspiration for people to see that there are other ways, and they don't have to live in a sad state.
You're right. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. Just give it a few years, but in a few years' time, you're going to look back and you're going to start getting feedback. You may already be getting it from people that have said, I found her, I saw her interview, I saw her story, I went to these links and, did all this stuff, and I healed my cancer too. And that's the best feeling in the world.
That would be perfect. Like, I've had a few people who have changed their life for positive anyway, but to see it on another scale would be amazing. I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm not in it for her. I'm literally coming from a place of pure love. That's all I feel. So if I can make a difference in anyone's life, then I have lived a bloody good life.
You're doing it.
Thanks, babe. You're a legend.
Well, shucks.
Well,
Okay, well, thanks again, Candice Marie. And again, let's get this video out there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Share it and let's spread the message.
thank
Bye-bye.
you so much. Bye.